Alright, you guys, time for some real talk about the EU's profound economic illiteracy. And yeah, a lot of you guys are like, gee, we know, dude. And yeah, we know, but this is profound. So, at any rate, Trump is feisting up or cocking up a trade war with the EU, and their response is just so freaking epic. I'm still like, why Reuters? You used to be somewhat our last tiny little bit of hope, and you're reporting this? Good grief. So, anyways, to counter the tariffs on steel, and what else is he gonna put tariffs off on? So yeah, well, at least steel and some metals and German luxury vehicles and so forth and so on. So to counter that, the EU is now threatening to put tariffs on things like Harley Davidson motorcycles made out of Wisconsin, a Republican state. And then Jim Beam, because that's Kentucky, Mitch McConnell state, if I recall correctly. Anyways, pretty red state, and some other goods. But first of all, yeah, the EU imports a whole bunch of Jim Beam. Now, a little bit of an extra tariff on a bottle of Jim Beam is already, unless you're an alcoholic, it's a lot different than uh, that size of a tariff on top of a 40, 50, or $60,000 vehicle. That's very different. And as you know, just to tell you guys, if any Kentucky friends are out there, then I'm all out, fresh out. So yeah, I'm probably gonna buy me a new one. So go Jim Beam. And I'm a big Scotch guy. I really celebrate my Scottish heritage in terms of whiskeys, and that's the only serious. That's actually the only thing I will seriously call whiskey. But you know what? I have a soft spot for bourbon, and Kentucky. They're always in my heart. At any rate, so there's that, and then there are the Harleys, the motorcycles. Okay, so a bit more of an expensive consumer slash luxury product, but what the EU fails to look at is the actual fucking numbers. Consumer confidence since the Trump administration was sworn into office. Consumer confidence has steadily been on the rise. I haven't kept up with the most recent numbers, I must admit, but when I did keep up with the U.S. market completely, the numbers in terms of consumer confidence were up, and if the job numbers keep rising, especially if the domestic market or domestic production of steel, etc., is going to kick in, and we know coal is kicking in because you know they had to make up for what China is not importing from North Korea anymore, or at least for that little bit. But yeah, so if domestic production in the U.S. keeps kicking in with all these tariffs and the trade war, and consumer confidence keeps rising, I'm just like, what is there to say that domestic consumption of these consumer goods that the EU is going to slam tariffs on is not going to completely outweigh the loss in exports? So yeah, whenever I'm looking at the product in terms of at the data, at least as far as I have been able to keep up with the data, I wouldn't be too freaked out if I was sitting at the CEO or anywhere in the boardrooms of these companies. I wouldn't be too freaked out. And yeah, there's there's just something to be said for that. You know, Angela Merkel, you're going to need a lot more than a threat on Harley Davidson and Jim Beam to actually counter that. And I think she knows. I think Trump knows. And this is just, uh, you know, I'm a free trader. To be honest, I think tariffs are a terrible little scam to get ahead, if you will, and nobody should be practicing it. But when almost everybody's practicing it, except for those few countries that want their consumers to be able to have a good deal, then it's again, it's I gotta this one phrase that Trump had that I actually gotta say I side with because I understand the validity of it. He said, "I'm for free trade, but I'm also for fair trade." And there's a very heavy point there. You know, we can't be saying that we're treating freely until we're trading fairly. And trading fairly means, yeah, you compete your butt off. You try and satisfy your customers to the best of your ability, giving them the best deal that you can honor and keep up with every given day. And it takes a lot of work. And if you're not doing that, well, yeah, sucks to be you. But there are probably some things that you could do better, and you would do the world a favor by doing those things rather than saying, yeah, but I want to do this. If everybody's a million times better than you, I would love to be a track sprinter. I'll say that right now. But you know what? I'm also a realist. I'm never going to be Usain Bolt or any of those guys. I'm also not going to be Shaquille O'Neal or any of those big tower basketball players. I mean, I'm not short, but I'm not like 7, 8, 9 foot tall, whatever. And besides, there are things that I have more interest for than tossing a ball around. Even though it would be super cool to have that career, but you know, I have other passions and other strengths and qualities, and that's fine. But yeah, I figured I'd share this a little bit with you. I'll toss in the Reuters article, the description, because this is uh, just look at what they're suggesting. Just do me a favor. Don't take my words for it. Obviously, it's been a little while since I kept up with the data completely, but just look at what America's leverage is here, Trump's leverage. Look at what the EU's leverage is, and go there and actually just look through the data, compare that, all the economic data, at least, especially those of you who do read and have a grasp of economic data. Just look at this stuff, and you be the judge. And if some of you economic nerds and powerhouse thinkers see this, then and please share your thoughts in the comment section, because at least from my entrepreneurial sense, this is just uh I really wish I hadn't read that, but now that I did, I gotta just crack a cynical laugh, because the world is a meme, you guys. At, at any rate, enough for now. Viking out.